My African-American fiancé said her ex was coming to our wedding, told me not to be jealous. So I invited his wife. The wedding never happened.
She said it so lightly, like she was talking about the seating chart or the cake flavors. My ex is coming to the wedding, she said, her eyes still glued to her laptop. Don't be jealous. I stopped what I was doing, the guest list still in my hands, and just looked at her. She didn't look back at me. That one small detail told me more than her words ever could. Your ex? I asked, trying to keep my voice even. The one you said was ancient history? The one you swore you never spoke to? Yes, she replied a little too quickly. He just wants to congratulate us. He's married now. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. That phrase had become her go-to shield lately. Anything that felt uncomfortable, anything that crossed a boundary, suddenly wasn't a big deal anymore. My completely valid feelings of discomfort were twisted and framed as my own insecurity. My questions were treated like baseless accusations. I didn't realize you were still in touch, I said, trying a different angle. We reconnected recently, she admitted, finally glancing up for a split second. But it's nothing. You trust me, right? I nodded, even though I felt this tight knot forming in my stomach. That night I couldn't sleep a wink. And it wasn't because of jealousy. It was because of a sickening sense of familiarity. I'd seen this exact pattern play out before in business deals, in friendships, even in my first marriage. When someone starts minimizing things instead of explaining them, it's rarely harmless. It's a red flag. I decided not to confront her again. Instead, I did something much smarter. I started paying attention. Really paying attention. Over the next week, I began to notice all the little things I'd previously brushed off. Her phone never, ever left her side. It was like an extension of her hand. She started taking calls outside, pacing in the yard. Her phone screen would instinctively tilt away from me whenever I got close, a motion that was so automatic it was clearly muscle memory. Whenever I walked into a room unexpectedly, she'd flinch just a tiny, almost imperceptible movement before quickly composing herself and flashing a bright, disarming smile. I kept telling myself I was being paranoid, that I was just imagining things. Then her son said something that made my blood run cold. We were cleaning out the garage one Saturday, and he just mentioned it casually, offhand. Mom's been talking to Grant a lot, he said. Like, a lot. My chest tightened. I tried to sound casual. Oh yeah? What makes you say that, bud? He just shrugged, a kid being a kid. She smiles at her phone all the time now, he said. The way she used to smile at you? That night, after she was asleep, I sat alone at the kitchen table, the moonlight casting long shadows across the floor, and I made a decision. I wasn't going to accuse her. I wasn't going to have a big, dramatic explosion. I was going to verify. I invited his wife to the wedding. I didn't tell my fiancée. I simply found her address and sent an invitation that was an exact replica of all the other same elegant design, same meticulously calligraphed handwriting. It was polite. It was neutral. It was completely impossible to argue with. My logic was simple. If Grant was truly just a friend, then a little transparency shouldn't be a problem at all. In fact, it should be welcomed. Well, things unraveled incredibly quickly after that. 2 days later, my fiancée came home, and she was visibly shaken. Her hands were trembling slightly. Did you invite someone to our wedding without telling me? She asked, her voice strained. Who? I asked, keeping my face a perfect mask of innocence. She swallowed hard. Grant's wife. Yes, I said calmly, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. If he's coming to celebrate with us, it only made sense to include his wife. It's the polite thing to do. Her reaction was immediate and completely disproportionate. The anger was like a flash flood. That was not your place. She snapped, her eyes blazing. You embarrassed me. And that was it. That was the moment I knew for sure. Embarrassment only exists when there's something to hide, a secret to protect. I didn't fight back. I didn't argue. I just apologized lightly, said I didn't realize it would be an issue, and let the subject drop. But that night, while she was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the bathroom counter. I didn't pick it up. I didn't have to. The message preview on the lock screen was more than enough. It was from Grant, and it said, "Everything okay?" She seemed suspicious today. The next morning I called in sick to work. And I did something I never, ever imagined I would do to someone I was planning to marry. I hired a private investigator. Not because I wanted drama, and not because I wanted revenge. I just wanted clarity. I needed the cold, hard truth before I stood at an altar and promised my entire life to someone who might already be planning a very different future for both of us. The truth didn't come out all at once in some dramatic revelation. It came in pieces, a slow and horrifying drip of information. Hotel receipts from work trips to cities she had no business in. Money transfers cleverly routed through a third-party account to avoid detection. A string of messages that were carefully worded to stop just short of being explicit, but were so heavy with implication they were suffocating. And then, the investigator found the document that changed everything. The document that turned this from a story of infidelity into something much, much darker. A life insurance policy. My name, my personal information, and my forged signature at the bottom. I just stared at the paper for what felt like an eternity, a feeling like ice water spreading through my chest. The sole beneficiary was her. The payout was a life-changing amount of money. And the policy was recent, taken out just a few weeks prior. When the investigator called me later and told me he'd also found traces of unusual, unprescribed substances in the health supplements she'd been giving me every morning, I didn't feel fear. I felt awake, truly awake for the first time in months. I immediately stopped eating or drinking anything she prepared for me. I did it quietly, without any explanation. I'd pretend to drink the smoothies she made with a smile, then pour them down the drain the second she left the room.